All right, gang, we are starting week number 2 of our quarantine workouts. Now, a couple things I want to mention before we actually get into the workouts today. I'm going to try to adjust some of the angles I use. So there may be a few more jumps than you might be used to with some of these videos, but a couple people have said have a hard time seeing everything that's happening with the exercises, so I'm going to try to adjust that today. If that continues to be an issue, please let me know, and I'll continue to do what I can to fix it. More importantly, much more importantly, there have been a handful of people who have been doing the workouts that have reached out and offered some type of compensation for these workouts. And while I am extremely humbled and incredibly flattered, that's not what I am trying to do here. More than anything, I want to give you something effective to do at home with minimal equipment, kind of like I said before, to make sure when we get back to our normal routines, we haven't lost anything. If you are somebody that truly wants to support me during this, I want to mention 2 things. First and foremost, I would way rather you take that effort and support businesses that are still able to be open and people are still working through those businesses, rather than giving me any money or any compensation for these workouts. Use that to continue being able to pay for a Buckeye Fitness membership while we're closed down during this. Use that to support Jennings Java. I don't drink coffee, so I'm never going to be buying any of that, so do it in my place. Pocket Lawn Fitness is still offering their home workouts. It's a little bit different than what I'm doing, and so it's going to be a really good balance for those things. Instead of just going out and going for a run, check out Pocket Lawn Fitness and look at some of their programs and see if that might be something you could do as well. Right now, we have no idea how long this is going to last. I would like to think it's going to be 2, maybe 3 more weeks. We don't know. The longer this goes on, the more it seems we realize we know very little about what is going on with this disease and how to handle it. So, again, rather than trying to support me, try to support the people who genuinely need it right now. I'm really crossing my fingers that my unemployment claims will go through soon and I'll be able to collect on that. If that doesn't happen, yeah, I'll be on here begging immediately. But until then, try to be the support for the local community that I can't be right now. If you can do that, and you are still wanting to support me personally in some way, take everything that you want to use to support me and make a nest egg out of it. We don't know what the coming months are going to look like. And I do not want to be a reason that anybody is in some type of financial distress. So take that and put it in a nest egg. Put my name on it, whatever you want to do. But once we get through this, then you can utilize that. Buy a crap ton of shirts off of me. Take me out to lunch. Anything like that. Whatever is going to be best. But for right now, it is infinitely more important that you take care of your health and your financial status. Again, we really don't know what's going to be happening over the coming weeks and months, so don't allow yourself to be put out, even though I am greatly touched. So I'll try to remember to put some links in the video below. If you have any questions about reaching them, I'll try to put their websites and all of that on. I'm not reaching a massive audience with this, but it's enough that you could really make a difference in these little areas and these little groups. So just keep that in mind. And having said all of that, now we can get into our workouts. So we have 4 movements today. We are going to do some tricep press downs, some lateral raises, lunges, and that mountain climber kickback we did, we're going to put a little twist on that. So for my press downs, I got my long sleeve Under Armour wicking kind of shirt. Just going to pop that over my shoulders like I'm giving somebody a piggyback. And from here, I'm going to try not to pull on the seams, but I'm going to press down, keeping that tension on my arms. I don't need a tremendous amount of stress. I just need something to allow me to pull against some tension. I've got my Under Armour shirt, but like I said before, $5 pair of pantyhose, same thing. Toss it right over, hold a little higher. I can get that same good activation. Remember, we're using our brain to work our muscles rather than the equipment to work the muscles. You got to be the one to make sure you're working hard enough. We're going back to our bottles or our shoes, our running shoes, whatever you're using for our lateral raises. Now we're going to put a little bit of a twist on it. Rather than just coming up out to the side, I want to turn the bottles down so that when I come up into my lateral raise, I would be dumping this whole thing out. You can see my arms are not coming up nearly as high as they would be if I were holding the bottles flat. This is going, the rotation of my shoulder is going to completely change which muscles I'm trying to use here. And so rather than trying to force that through and pulling up into some muscles I don't want to be using, I'm going to work a much smaller range of motion. So starting with the bottle cap or the toe of your shoe against your legs, we're just going to come up to the spot where your shoulders naturally stop. We're going to hold it for about 2 or 3 seconds, back down, and right back up. This is partially embarrassing. This is like 3 reps in, and my arms are shaking already. So again, this is going to really change which muscles we're loading, and that hold is going to facilitate a much better activation. Our lunges this week are straight vanilla. We're not doing anything crazy. We're stepping out and stepping back. I want you to make sure that you are not rushing one component of the movement, particularly when we step back. I can step out into my lunge just fine, but when I get to this position, my tendency is to kind of throw myself back a little bit. Again, as we're doing these movements, we want to focus on the control. We want to focus on the slow and steady movement. So, keeping my core tight, stepping out into my lunge, coming back up, stepping back as controlled as I step out. Now, I will adjust this a little bit so that you can hopefully kind of see better. But here I've got my waist high spot. Whether that's your bed, your couch, desk, whatever it's going to be, when I'm going to start away from it, but as I step into this lunge, I can kind of have a little bit of that support there. So that way, when I go to stand back up, I don't need to heave myself back. I can kind of push a little bit. Again, this is still going to be muscle working. So I'm not worried about you feeling like you're cheating here. Pushing off under control is still not going to make this easy if we're doing it right, if we're working that control. Last thing we're going to do, I'm going to adjust the camera before we go into this. This is our mountain climber kickback, similar to what we did one of those first workouts, coming up and kicking back. Now we're gonna do that on the floor. So real quick again, going through those lunges, I don't wanna step out and toss myself back. I wanna have a nice, smooth movement going through. And if stepping in and kind of pushing myself off a little bit here, that does not make it easier. And remember, the back leg is really where I want to feel a lot of that tension. I'm not touching the floor, 2 90-degree angles, that's as far as we need to go. Now, going into our tabletop position for our mountain climber. Rather than being in a high plank where my knees are off the ground, I want to keep my knees down and I want to keep them right under my hips. I want to keep my back flat. I don't want to be rounded and I don't want to be dipped either. Flat back position, doesn't matter which leg you start with, we're going to do both. I'm going to pick up my left first, bring that up as a mountain climber, kick that back to more of a bird dog position. I'm not trying to kick up, I'm just straightening my leg back, bringing it up, taking it back, up and back. So, on top of just going through that movement itself being challenging, the main thing here is keeping those elbows locked out. That is going to continue to keep that burn on your triceps, on your forearms that we introduced with our lateral raises and our press downs. So, 60 seconds on the press down, 60 seconds on the lateral raise, 30 seconds in the lunges. I'm not looking to do this forever. I want that to lead in to the mountain climber and the kickback. So 60 seconds, 60 seconds, 30, 30, 60, 60 on each side of that mountain climber kickback. So those arms are going to be really tired holding that 2-minute plank. That's why I want your other knee to stay down. If you need to put a pillow under that, if you're not doing it on carpet or anything, definitely do. Whatever is going to allow you to continue to hold that position for 2 minutes. It's going to get pretty rough. So, of course, it just went to the next minute. So I will start in about 20 seconds here. So we're going to pop this over our back. Holding onto the wrist. Again, I'm not trying to hold up high. That's going to put stress on the seam. I want the stress, the tension to be in the middle of the sleeve. And 60 seconds. Pulling that elbow as straight as I can and flexing those tricep muscles just for 1 or 2 seconds. Pulling on this, keeping that tension nice and tight. I'm not flying through this, and my triceps are burning. And humble brag, I've got some strong triceps, but this is no fun anymore. 15 more seconds. Then we go right into our lateral raise. 5 seconds. All right, I'm just gonna leave that on my back because it's not hurting anything. Caps against the legs. Smooth movement getting there. Good control holding. Again, I'm not trying to go as high as I ordinarily would if I am keeping my muscles activated. My arms are shaking so much. I don't know if you can see this, but that bad boy 30 more seconds. Every time that guy comes up, shaking, shaking. So that is my body finding muscles to use throughout this movement. Don't try to bring those weights up in any drastic position. All right, 5 seconds. And then my lunges. So good step. I want to keep moving during this 30 seconds. I just want the movement to be smooth. Remember, your balance comes from your core. Keep your core tight as switch, we go through this. Another 30 seconds. Good, smooth, slow, controlled movement. And then we're going to go right down in to that tabletop position. So keep the arms locked out, up, back. Your goal is to not let that leg go back to the floor. Good position, smooth execution. My shoulders are on fire. Keep those elbows locked out. Keep that leg moving in a consistent range of motion. 10 more seconds on this side. And we switch. Keep the arms locked out. Keep the back flat. Keep that leg moving. Thirty more seconds. Smooth, controlled motion. Keeping the elbows locked out and keeping the working leg off the floor. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, so that is circuit number 1 for this week. Tricep press downs, lateral raises, keeping those caps down, good smooth, not a walking lunge, but stepping out, stepping back, and the mountain climber kickback. Keep the smooth movements, keep the brain engaged. If you have any questions about the exercises or the movements, leave a comment down below, contact me on Facebook or Instagram. If you don't have my personal number, again, however you need to contact me. If this doesn't make sense, clarify it before you start it. Stay active, stay healthy, and I will see you next time.